Hey, I'm Coach T. This is the next video in the Python Quick Code series. In this video, which I have had to record many times because of a bunch of technical issues, including garbled audio on multiple occasions, and some really unfortunate technical stuff on my Windows PC happening kind of all at once. But we're going to go through showing you how to modify lists. Now, one of the other mistakes that I made in a previous recording was that I tried to show both append and pop, which are kind of two sides of the same coin, in the same video. And that led to a really bloated runtime. And I don't think that's what I want to do with these videos. What I'm trying to do with the quick code videos is to show you one thing at a time and to teach it in sufficient depth that you can go practice and learn more on your own. Now, full disclosure, I am an adult learner myself. I make mistakes. I have to look things up once in a while. That's okay. That is part of the development process, not only the learning process, but the software development process too. You have to get good at researching, and when you don't feel comfortable or confident about something, not beating yourself up. You got to get good at asking questions and then going forth and finding the answers. That seems to be like the number one dev skill when I've learned about the development career path process, whatever. That's the thing that's on all the lists, is your ability to research. So don't get deflated if, as we're practicing lists, something goes wrong. I'm not deflated. I made a bunch of mistakes in a prior video, but it became not a good learning experience because I had turned myself around so badly, because I was trying to do this as if it was a C# list, and it got too much and it was no longer a good learning experience. So I backed up, I double checked what I understood, and now here we are with a cleaner version of the video so that you can learn effectively. So, all right. In this video, we're going to look at modifying lists. If you are comfortable with while and for loops, if you are comfortable with declaring a list, and you're starting to understand the zero-based index counting system that computers use, then we are ready to look at how to add to our lists. If you're not comfortable with those topics, I would suggest that you either go back and rewatch my videos on those topics. I do have videos on each of those topics. Or you could check out Clear Code. He's a Python YouTuber that I learned a ton from. You could check out on what is this? This is We3 Schools. I love this website as a resource for learners. Or poke around on YouTube. There are tons of real experts. I'm not a real expert. I'm an adult learner like you. And I'm trying to make this easier for other adult learners because I'm coming in and I remember what many of the stumbling blocks were and how I got over them. So if you're comfortable with for and while loops, you're comfortable declaring lists, and you can count with the zero-based index, then let's learn about the append method. Appending just means to add, and in Python, you append to the end of the list. There are ways to insert into lists using the insert method, but we're not going to cover that right now. We are only going to look at the append method. And in the next video, we will look at the pop method to remove items, which is a little bit more flexible. So when we append, all we need to do is we need to specify what we are going to add to the list. This is easier in Python than in some other languages because lists in Python can store multiple types. But one thing to keep in mind is that anything that I put in through my input here is stored as a string. Anything, numbers, even if I name a class object, doesn't matter. It stores that input as a string, and I have to cast it if I want it to become a number. We're going to deal more with that, I think, in the next video, because we do have to typecast to get an integer. So if you're not sure what that means, I do have videos on typecasting in Python, but otherwise we're going to tackle it next week with the pop video. So, all right, we are going to take a look at the code that I have here, and we'll talk about what is happening with the append, and then I'll run it and I'll show you what's going on. So we have our Avengers list, right? And in Python, I don't have to call it a list. It dynamically interprets based on the square brackets that the variable here is being stored as a list. And then I have the original core Avengers team: Cap, Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, and Thor. Okay, that's from the original Avengers movie, the first Joss Whedon one. Then I have a for loop that will print each Avenger. So for Avenger in Avengers, where this is my temporary variable, it's going to go ahead and print whatever is stored at that element in the list. So it'll print Cap, Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, Thor. It'll print the whole list off one by one by one. Then, while true, I have add Avenger equals input, and it will prompt the user to say, okay, add Avenger. It's going to store whatever I type in as a string. Doesn't matter if it's letters, numbers, exclamation points, doesn't matter. It's stored as a string. And as long as Avenger isn't quit, then we get to the meat of the video, which is this append command right here. Let me blow it up a little bit for you. So I am appending to the Avengers list, right? That's the name of this list right here. I'm going to append whatever I have stored in that add Avenger variable. And it's going to add it to the end of the list by default. That's where it goes. And if I did type in quit, then it will break out of the while loop so that we don't end up in an infinite loop of being forced to add Avengers. And then at the very end of the algorithm or of the program, it's going to print off new Avengers list, and it will show me everything that we have added. So really what you need to take away, what you need to understand here is that the append method, where you specify the list to add to, then the append command, and anything that you pass in these parentheses, that is what will be added to the list. It doesn't have to be a variable name. It could just be a 5. It could be Bob, right? And it could be anything. But for the sake of this video, we're going to do add Avenger, because that will allow me to input a variety of different Avenger names to build a better Avengers list. So let's assemble our Avengers. It's got to boot it up. Okay, so first of all, like I said, it's going to print off the original list. And then I'm going to add in, we'll do Hawkeye. It's going to prompt me for another one. We'll do Scarlet Witch. We'll do Deadpool. And then the greatest Avenger, the only Avenger, the original Avenger, Batman. Now, okay, you might be going, well, that's the distinguished competition. It's not actually an Avenger. That's fine. It doesn't matter because we're going to remove him in the next video because he doesn't belong. He's in the wrong universe, right? We're going to quit to end. And now it gives me my new Avengers list of my greatest Avengers team ever. Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, Thor, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Deadpool, and the Bat, right? There they all are together in their glory. But you can see, like I said, anything that I appended from Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Deadpool, Batman, they all got appended to the end of the list. There's not a way with append to add that in the beginning of the list. We need to use the insert method, and that's separate. I may make a video on insert, but we do want to be very careful adding things or removing things from the interiors of lists when we're working with loops, because Python gets a little goofy when we do that. So just beware. So that's how you append to a list. My recommendation here at 8.5 minutes is to go ahead and make some of your own lists. Make your football team list and draft players to it. Make a class roster and add students to it. Make a list of ingredients and add all the ingredients for whatever recipe that you like. But go get comfortable using append to add items to the end of a list. And when we come back next week, we're going to look at the pop method. All right. I'm Coach T. Hopefully this was comprehensible and it was an easy thing that you can learn, grasp, and go practice. Try to carry it forward 1% better every day. And man, within just a month, you'd be shocked at how much you can learn. I am happy to have taught you today. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you again in the next Python Quick Code video.